He's the tallest man on the radio, so sit right back and enjoy the show. Flying through the air like a ballistic missile. Here's your host, Ben Kissel.
Hey, what's up, everyone? How you doing? Welcome to the Ben Kissel channel. I'm Ben Kissel, as always, joined by Kyle Ploof.
Cheers, Patriots.
It's the political show. We've got a bunch of stuff to get to today.
Yeah.
Obviously, the debate between Donnie Trump and Kamala Harris is this evening, so we're going to be covering that live on the Ben Kissel channel.
Ooh.
So that's going to take place in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, of course, in Pennsylvania, a Commonwealth.
Which Trump just got shot in.
Oh, that's right. He did just get shot there.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if that happens again tonight.
Pow.
Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, 19 electoral college votes.
Oh,
So
that's
we'll
it.
see. That's it. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good number.
I feel like it should be more. It seems like such a vast state.
Well, it's big, but there's not that many people in there.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
Have you ever driven through Pennsylvania?
A lot of log cabins.
A lot of log cabins. Yeah.
My baby mama was forced to go there to go to like an Amish almost camp for a
Really?
week. Yeah, they
She
made
did
her
like
like
a reverse Rumspringa.
yeah, she did like a whole week doing like churning butter and learning how to live amongst them.
Really? I just watched the Weird Al movie, and Amish Paradise is sort of the precipice in that film. That was his greatest achievement.
Yeah.
And I think that that's accurate. So she knows how to churn butter.
I guess so. And she, if anybody knows about this, they give you a faceless doll at the end of it.
What do you mean?
Their dolls aren't allowed to have faces. It's like the creepiest thing. She still has it. Very strange.
Absolutely. Well, let's get to some stuff. Remember, we were talking about this California bill that passed, and it was going to give undocumented immigrants $150,000 in state-backed home loans.
Yes.
So that passed with the Democratic government there in California. Gavin Newsom, he says no can do. He vetoed it.
Wow.
So Gavin Newsom says no can do on that. He vetoed that bill on Friday.
But that's only because it's election season.
Sure.
If he just got elected, it'd put it right through.
So the governor's veto comes a day after President Trump said he would ban undocumented immigrants from receiving home mortgages if he returns to the White House. And obviously, immigration is going to be extremely important for tonight's debate, being that Ms. Harris has been in charge of the southern border ever since she took over in 2020 as vice president, and a lot of people see that as a negative. So that'll obviously be part of the sparring that goes on between Trump and Harris. Of course, Donald Trump, a much more hardline man when it comes to immigration. I mean, to the point where Michael Rappaport believes immigration has gotten so bad, or illegal immigration in New York City. Michael Rappaport, of course, a man who is known for hating Donald Trump, said he might vote for the fat fuck.
Wow.
And I believe he called him a fat fuck.
Yeah, he's had a few words to say about him.
So Harris, now she has vowed to create a pathway to citizenship for migrants who have crossed over the border illegally. I'm fine with a pathway to citizenship. Something has to happen in order to get these people on the books. You want them paying taxes because everyone knows that government loves our money, and you want them to stay above board because otherwise you're forced into a life of crime, criminality, and it ain't good. Now, of course, if there is someone who is undocumented and they come into our country and they commit a crime, then they should be charged, and they will be in the U.S. penal system, which is a fate worse than death.
Donald Trump said he's not even going to charge them. He's just going to completely export them.
He just wants to get rid of them, which could cost quite a bit of money. And then, of course, naturally, it would lead to ICE intervening in people's lives in a way that I don't necessarily think as a nation we want to see. But that's just my opinion on that. This is what she says. She says, she knows that our immigration system is broken and needs comprehensive reform that includes strong border security and earned pathway to citizenship. Now, of course, Donald Trump, once again, he has said that he wants to, as Kyle just said, expel every illegal migrant from the United States. That would, of course, break up many families, and just because you're an illegal migrant or an undocumented person doesn't mean you're here for ill will. And I have spoken to a lot of people who work in rural businesses like farming, things of that nature, and it's difficult to find workers, and many of those workers are undocumented because they're all the only people that want to work in jobs that many Americans gotten just straight up they're too good to do them.
Yeah.
At least they feel that way.
Yep.
So this is what her website states. It says, as president, she will bring back the bipartisan border security bill and sign it into law. Now, of course, she is currently still the vice president. So why not speak with Joe and get it done now?
That's the craziest part about all of this is that she's campaigning for all these changes. And I think Donald Trump is going to say it tonight, like, you're already in charge, you can do it.
Sure. And this is one of the difficult things because she's trying to separate herself, make herself a unique candidate, separate herself from Joe Biden, but naturally she's part of the Biden administration. So that's going to make it extremely difficult because you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, completely dump all over Joe Biden because, again, you're complicit in many of his actions. Obviously, he's on the top of the ticket, so he is making the final decision, but she can't exactly say everything that happened in this past 4 years fucking sucked,
right,
and I'm going to change everything because, again, that would reflect poorly on her. So it's a really interesting conundrum that she finds herself in, as now, of course, she does tend to go more to the center when it comes to fracking. First, she said, no fracking whatsoever, and now she's like, you can frack me all night long, baby.
There was a journalist that played her saying, you know, fracking has no place in our country. And then after that, she's like, I'll never ban fracking.
Right.
And she was just like,
And it's because she wants to win states like Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And of course, RuPaul, let's not forget RuPaul, a big fan of fracking, so she wants to get that RuPaul support. So this is what J.D. Vance wrote. And I've got a story about J.D. Vance here in a second. 'Cause
okay,
I don't know what the hell got in this guy's craw. He is just...
some couch cushions.
Some couch cushions. I don't know what happened. He called his dogs idiotic in a clip.
What?
Yeah, the dogs were barking, and he's like, "Oh yeah, the dogs are always barking. They're idiotic." And I'm like, "They're fucking dogs.
Yeah, that's what they do.
That's what they. If they weren't barking, then you would have a problem."
Yeah, Jerry was just barking at a dog on TV.
Jerry's very smart.
Yeah.
My dog Jerry.
Top dog.
Absolutely. I was going to buy a little award that said top dog today when I was at Target, but I realized he wouldn't have any idea what that means. So this is what J.D. Vance says. The most destructive part of Harris's border plan is where she says she wants to give 8.5 plus million illegal aliens, they're aliens, folks, earned pathway to citizenship, which means rewarding illegal aliens with amnesty and the right to vote in our next election. And now, interesting about this, I actually think Republicans don't give themselves enough credit for the conservative nature of many immigrants that come to this country. Many people in Central and South America, they tend to be very religious. Many of them, look at Florida, you know, you have Cubans out there who are super fucking, when Obama said, let's be friends with Cuba, they were like, absolutely fucking not.
Yeah.
We hate Cuba. We hate socialism. So there's a lot of support that I think Republicans are actually missing out on when it comes to the people crossing the southern border. Who I don't think there's anything that says that they're going to be diehard in love with the Democratic Party. I would love to hear their thoughts on certain culture issues.
Yeah.
I would love to hear the person's thoughts on, you know, transgender rights or things of this nature. These culture wedge issues that I'm sure many people who cross the southern border are like, wait, what are y'all fighting about over here?
A lot of Latino culture is very conservative.
So that to me is where Republicans don't really have enough self-confidence, in a sense, because again, I think many people from that ilk would potentially be open to voting for them. So he goes on to say, promising amnesty and citizenship will create a gigantic magnet for illegal immigration that will entice people around the world to race across our borders. I don't know. Yeah. I know immigration, it is a serious issue, and obviously we want to crack down on illegal immigration for safety and security reasons. But is America still the place that everybody from around the world wants to be? I'm just not sure anymore.
I mean, it's advertised that way, but I'm not sure. I think this part of the whole process is the most interesting to me because there are a lot of Kamala supporters out there that, say, she can't do anything because she's vice president. Vice presidents they don't have any power to do anything. But then they hear stuff like that from JD Vance, and they're like, "This man is evil and must be stopped. He will take away everybody that we love."
Yeah,
It's
well.
like there's always this dynamic where they downplay one side and then make the other side look so horrible.
And JD Vance, again, just not doing himself any favors. Every time he talks, I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
With the hillbilly elegy that this man is supposed to be espousing. I didn't realize, the guy who directed that was Ron Howard.
That's right.
I didn't
Yeah.
fucking know Ron Howard directed that movie.
Another famous ginger.
And he just came out. I saw him one time at the Smokehouse.
Yeah.
With his brother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, weird looking brother.
His brother is awesome.
His brother's real cool.
Yeah.
I saw Ron.
Been in a bunch of horror movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, hey, how you doing? It was great. We had a nice exchange.
There you
He
go.
looked at me. I looked at him.
Richie Cunningham.
This is according to what she said, what Harris said at the Democratic National Convention. She says, we need Congress to act and to do what we know is necessary to fully put the resources into the border and creating meaningful pathway to citizenship. Again, what has she been doing the past 4 years, which I'm sure will be Donald Trump's attacks on her this evening, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Also this evening for the debate, in something that I actually think helps Donald Trump, they're muting the mics after they speak, so there's less crosstalk. But I always feel like if you're the Harris campaign, that crosstalk is where Donald just ends up saying, like, that's where he's going to be like, and you're not black.
Yeah.
That's where he's really going to say the shit.
I think he's going to say that anyway.
Oh, he's probably going to whittle it in somehow.
That's a part of my hydration game rules.
Yes, you're going to have some drinks. I'll have my Gatorade Zero. So anyway, this is going to be absolutely fascinating when it comes to how they debate and what is going to happen as, again, she has been in charge of the southern border for 4 years, and things are not going as perfectly as they could. This is what her campaign website reads. It says, Vice President Harris and Governor Walz believe in tough, smart solutions to secure the border, keep communities safe, and reform our broken immigration system.
Yeah.
Now, the flip side of that is you have J.D. Vance, who is talking about how immigrants are eating people's pets.
Well,
Now,
Haitian.
The Haitian immigrant.
Yeah, I saw that.
Is this happening? You're from Massachusetts. You're probably allowed to believe that. I don't know. They said there's some people in this town of Springfield. Was it Missouri? One of these Springfields across the country. And they were like, the Haitian community is going down to the pond. And they're eating all our ducks. But that's not really a pet. And I don't necessarily know if it's true or not. This could be a falsity. A lot of people are saying it's a falsity, but I say have at the ducks. I mean, I'm scared of ducks. They hunt you down. They're quacking all the time.
They're full of carbs.
They're full of carbs. If
People feed them bread.
if you can get a duck, get a duck. I mean, don't eat the dog. But my goodness, have a duck here or there. So J.D. Vance is doubling, tripling down. Apparently, this was in Springfield, Ohio. He said that local police, which they say are baseless, the local police say this is all baseless, and they said it was made up by far-right activists, local Republicans, and neo-Nazis. And then J.D. Vance was like, oh, constituents. So that was according to a well-known advocate for the Haitian community. They say she has received a wave of racist harassment in the aftermath of J.D. Vance's most recent rants. This is what he wrote on X. He says, reports now show that people have had their pets abducted and eaten by people who shouldn't be in this country. Where is our border czar?
Yeah.
I would say, where's the ketchup? Give me that food. Also, Jerry, did you hear that? I hope I want my dog a little more scared.
Yeah.
So Springfield, it's a small city. It's got around 60,000 people, and it's received 15 to 20,000 migrants in the past 4 years. Many of them are from Haiti.
Right.
So there has been a definite demographic shift in Springfield, Ohio, and I would imagine that much of that demographic shift hasn't been met with the most amount of applause by many in that community.
Right.
But this is the way America works.
Yeah.
There's, when a buddy of mine who grew up in Queens, the Haitians moved into that community. I mean, this is how it works.
Yeah.
So change isn't always met with the proper attitude. So less than 30 minutes after Vance's post, the Springfield News-Sun reported that local police said the incidents of pets being stolen or eaten were, quote, not something that's on our radar right now.
Wow.
So they're not. The police don't really think it's a thing.
Well, this came from a specific person that said that their cat had gone missing, and they were looking all around for the cat, can't find Whiskers.
Uh-oh.
Then all of a sudden they're walking down the street to a complex where a bunch of Haitian people just moved in.
Yeah.
And they said they saw their cat hanging in a tree like it was
Like a rabbit.
like it was a dead deer, like just being hung.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
And getting ready to be butchered.
Yeah, many Republicans and far right media influencers, they've said they're doing a narrative called "Cat Lives Matter."
Oh wow.
So that's nice.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, maybe if a cat gets eaten here or there, I don't know. I just can't imagine it's an epidemic. I really can't imagine that it's not Pennywise the clown killing kids every 27 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's what he's talking about.
It also could be a specific grievance that they had with the cat.
I mean, sure, you know how cats are.
Yeah.
Maybe they killed the bird. Maybe they killed their favorite bird or something like that.
Right.
Who knows? So the claims have been refuted, and J.D. Vance has said there's a chance they're not real.
He admitted it?
He did.
Oh, wow.
He's like, well, this is big if true. If they're eating all of our animals, that's big. That's big news.
That's not nice.
But it could not be. It also might be totally fake. So he did put that little caveat in there.
All right.
So that's I'm gonna go with that. That's good old fashioned American straight up racism.
Bigiftrue.com. That should be his site.
That's just
nice. Propaganda.
I remember in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, we had a lot of Hmong. They moved to my small town, and many of them were in the foster care program, and I had many of them be my brothers and sisters for a little while as their families figured stuff out. But there was a lot of weird shit going on. Basically, they were just like, they're all gangs, and I was like, there's just like 4 of them hanging out. Yeah. But there was a similar sort of myth that they would, eat rabbits and squirrels and stuff and cook them in their backyard. I mean, one person's barbecue is another person's, I guess, weird event. Yeah. They just didn't do it the way that we were doing it, if they did it at all.
Yeah, I've been playing pool on Tuesdays, as you know. And, get to hang out with a lot of the old timers. And there's one guy that's Portuguese, but looks very white, and grew up in Massachusetts with a whole big Portuguese family in Fall River, Massachusetts. And one of their brothers got very dark. Yep. And so they said the neighbors used to look out the window and be like, they're following you. Like telling him to look out.
Right. He's like, that's my brother.
Yeah, because they didn't know that they weren't white and they were all Portuguese. One of them could just tan better.
Undercover.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So he's like, wow, I really get to see what the whites are saying.
Yeah.
They don't know I'm black.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Portuguese anyway.
That's a skill. It's like knowing another language when people are talking bad about you.
That's true.
So apparently the racist messages in Springfield, they have been flooding Springfield, and a lot of people are upset. Springfield resident Denise Williams, their phone began blowing up on Monday.
Oof.
Well, she was spending time with her children and grandchildren not long after Vance posted. And they said, they just laughed and said, this is crazy. But then emails kept on going to her inbox at a pace Williams said she had never experienced before. And, of course, she is the head of the NAACP.
NAACP.
My brain today. I had a coughing fit, and I think I died for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's been known to happen.
So, I'm sorry. NAACP, of course. Good God, my fucking head. Anyway, so that's what J.D. Vance is talking about, as opposed to all of the other things that might be a little bit more important to the minds of the American people. But I guess that's his job, is to just kind of like throw this wacky ass shit out there. And then Donald Trump is like, well, he's a little nuts, but I don't mind him.
Yeah, it's like Dumb and Dumber. He's like, the immigrants are moving in. Our pets' heads are getting cut off.
Yep. Some people sending this woman messages, they say they're a victim of Springfield and accused her of, quote, a massive crime against humanity for defending Haitian immigrants. They say, you don't care because it helps get rid of Whitey.
Wow.
That's what they're saying, Whitey.
Wow.
So there you go, Springfield, Ohio. The front lines of the immigration conversation
Yeah.
taking place all over this country.
But I think you can. There are a bunch of people that are showing up to. It might be Ohio, but there's like Venezuelan gangs that took over like empty apartment buildings.
See, that's not good.
Yeah, I think that's actually true.
Sure. Well,
So-
I mean, we were talking about that happened with the school bus here.
Yeah, in California, they tried to
So-
just steal a school bus full of kids.
If you commit a crime, the U.S. system, the U.S. justice system will be coming down on you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a difference between criminality. And of course, many people say, well, if you come here illegally, you are by nature a criminal, which is why we need to have a pathway to citizenship. And then if there's some people that shouldn't be here, then they can just go right away.
Yeah, it is. It's hard enough for people who are really trying to be, upstanding citizens. My aunt Angie is from the Philippines. My uncle John, shout out to him. He was a military serviceman. He's retired now, but he was stationed in the Philippines.
Okay.
Came back with my auntie Angie and 2 kids, my cousins Matt and Michelle, and it took her like 25 years to be able to finally get citizenship.
My dad's still not a citizen.
Wow.
Yep. He's just banging my mom for the past 50 years. And because
Loudly, apparently, while you're home.
Well, she's a giggler. You goddamn giggler. I don't know what to make of it anymore. I have no idea. Anyway, so let's move on a little bit when it comes to RFK Jr. and Donnie Trump. This just continues to be hilarious to me. First of all those voters that Donald Trump thought he was going to get, apparently less than half of RFK Jr. voters say that they are going to support Donald Trump.
Wow.
So I just don't think it really worked out. And because RFK Jr. Fought so hard to get on the ballot, especially in states like North Carolina, he is now suing North Carolina's election board to have his name removed.
Get me off.
It's just the dumbest shit. It's so stupid. Because you know how easy it is not to get on a ballot?
Yeah, it's the easiest.
Most of you just don't get on ballots, right? But then he fought real hard, and now he's fighting real hard to get off a ballot. So honestly, I might just vote for him.
Yeah.
I just think it would. You know what? RFK Jr., the man who doesn't want to be president, make him fucking president.
That'd be hilarious.
Just make him do it now. You fought so freaking hard.
Just hate fucking with the presidency. Now you get it, asshole.
Jackass. And his brother Ted Kennedy, he used to cry because, he killed that woman.
Yes.
He used to cry. He was like, well, I killed that woman. Now I can only be a senator. I can never run for president.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
When I was graduating college, John Kerry showed up to do our commencement speech, and he had to leave like halfway through. He only did like 10 minutes.
Really?
And he's like, I gotta go. Ted Kennedy had another stroke, and he
Oh
got
my
flown
God.
out in a helicopter.
Jesus, Ted. Come on. That Chappaquiddick, that was horrible.
Yeah.
She was alive in there for a long time.
Yeah, and he's
there were
like,
scratches
"Oops."
on the roof.
Ugh.
And then he went home, and then he had the audacity to complain because he went to a hotel. He complained that the neighbors were too loud and fell asleep.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was like, the neighbors are too loud over here. I got to get my rest. And then the next morning, he's like, that chick that's dead. I got to go check her out.
Oh yeah.
Not a hero.
Classic.
Classic Kennedy. So Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is suing North Carolina. The lawsuit follows, of course, his decision to drop out of the race. We'll see what happens. He filed suit with the Wake County Superior Court, stating that the board's refusal to remove him from the We the People Party, which nominated him, violated the state's election law and his freedom of speech, which I don't know. I just don't know. So despite being sued, a lawyer for North Carolina says no, he's on the ballot because we already made him. I think they're already printed.
I think that's all it is.
I literally think it is that.
It's just like paperwork.
Yeah. And before that, Kennedy was locked in a fight to keep his name on a New York ballot after his residency in the state came under question.
Here's the commercial with the other dogs on.
Yep. Jerry, you're interrupting the program. Jerry, oh my goodness. We got to turn that TV up.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's a Purina commercial, which is not sponsored this show whatsoever.
This is a good time.
So Kennedy's lawyer, his name is Jim Walden, when it came to what happened in New York, because in New York, he was eventually barred from appearing on the ballot, but that was before he announced his withdrawal. So he wanted to be on the ballot in New York, but he's not on the ballot apparently.
So he was suing them to get on. And
wanted
now
to
he's
be
gonna
on.
just be like, okay, just leave me off.
Now he's like, oh, thank God. What a waste of money. What a waste of months of your life. So this is what his lawyer, Jim Walden, said. He says, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. could have put his residence as the moon, and no one would have been confused with who Robert F. Kennedy is. Okay. There you go. So my residency is the moon. Well, you can't run for fucking American president.
That's right.
You're a Martian. I guess you're not a Martian. You're a Moonsian.
Moonanite.
A Moonanite. So he's also submitted his candidate filing in Oregon, but is meanwhile withdrawing his name from other anticipated battleground states like Maine. So again, he wants to be on some. He doesn't want to be on others. And he wants to be off all the battleground states.
That's just get off or just get on.
Yeah, just stop.
Yeah.
What is this? It's like, you're just farting. If it's not coming out, it's not coming out. Save it for another day.
Yeah.
So anyway, the North Carolina Board of Democrats outvoted its Republicans 3-2 to reject Kennedy's request to be removed from the ballot of the state's 100 counties. So anyway, who gives a fuck? This is according to Sibian Millen. They say the statutory deadline of September 6th can't be ignored just because of the capricious behavior of one party's candidate, one party, one person. I'm just going to be real blunt here and say I think this whole episode has been a farce. And I feel bad for anyone who has been deceived, which I do too, kind of. There's definitely some people probably out there who were, fighting with their families. Yeah. Because they're like, RFK Jr. is the man.
He's the voice for the voiceless.
I know I can't. I'm not making fun of him anymore after what happened to me.
That's true. I'm barely holding on right now.
I'm trying to stay positive. Negativity doesn't work.
No.
Because it hurts my voice. All right. Well, speaking of negativity, this was an interesting, it's really not a scientific poll by any measure whatsoever. But Mark Cuban, he did a little poll on his social media.
Oh.
And he asked parents, who would you rather have your kids be? Who would you want them to be like? Harris or Trump? This is what he wrote on his two-way poll. He says, whose persona and character would you like to see young children grow up to have? And surprisingly, Trump won with 68.9% of the vote.
Wow.
With only 31.1% saying Harris with a total of 804,000 votes. So I thought that was interesting because I feel like most parents would say, well, don't be like that guy.
Right.
But then I guess now they say, be like that guy.
Be like fearless in the face of adversity.
Right.
Say what you mean. Say it with your chest and have $1 billion in the bank.
Well, that's the thing.
I think that's
but
really
if you don't have $1 billion, you're just going to get punched a lot.
You're just a dick.
Yeah, you're just a total fucking dickhead. Right? So the poll prompted several responses from prominent political commentators. Former Republican candidate for Missouri Secretary of State Valentino Gomez, she said that's very interesting. She said that she does like Donald Trump, so that's interesting. Yeah. Cuban says he supported Donald Trump in 2015, but now he doesn't like him anymore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they had a falling out. Yep.
That's not good.
Yeah, he said in 2015, I was like, he's great. He's not a typical Stepford candidate. I think that was positive. He says a big part of it is that I didn't think he had a chance. I just kind of wanted to see things. I just wanted to see him screw things up in traditional politics, which I'm not a fan of. So I think a lot of people in 2015 voted as kind of a lark.
Yeah, I think that is very telling what you just said. They didn't think he had a chance. And I don't think anyone thought he had a chance last election cycle or 2 election cycles ago, because that's all the media was reporting. It's cooked. He's done. His goose is done. And now I think they learned from that mistake, and all the media is like, they're tied. They're tied. You have to go out and vote.
It is. It is going to be extremely close to get to that 270. Although, interestingly enough, Tim Walz, he may be hurting Kamala Harris in Minnesota. She was up by 50-40, but now she's only up 48-43, still up. But nonetheless, Tim Walz has been an interesting vice presidential candidate as well.
Yeah, because he was a COVID Gestapo saying, call me if you know that if your family's getting together for Thanksgiving.
And his older brother hates him.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
I guess that's what happens with older brothers. So this is what Cuban told Bloomberg. He says, I think we're having his last wake, and it was him versus Trump. This is about Joe Biden. And he was given his last rites. But he says, I would have still voted for Joe Biden.
Wow.
So there's Mark Cuban officially off the Trump train. And I think, did he officially? Yeah. And now Yeah, now I think he's supporting Harris now.
But he could just be doing that for publicity's sake and then just go in the booth and then vote for Trump because billionaires help out billionaires.
That's very possible as well. But of course, don't forget Harris. I think she's married to a billionaire, isn't she?
Maybe.
Which makes,
I don't know.
Makes her a billionaire. Yeah, Emhoff. Emhoff?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of interesting bedfellows, yes, indeed, which is not something you like to hear said about politicians. You don't want to see them in bed. Although Bedfellows is a fantastic YouTube short.
Oh.
If you have a chance, watch it. It's very scary. Former Vice President Dick Cheney has said that he is going to be voting for Harris.
Wow.
So a lot of people find themselves voting alongside Dick Cheney. It's extremely bizarre because Dick Cheney is, of course, a horrible tyrant of a man.
Yeah.
Who was president on 9/11, who was the reason we went into Iraq, and fucked up everything in foreign affairs for many, many years.
He got rich.
20-year war. He got very, very rich.
He doesn't even have a pulse.
He has no heart.
Yeah.
I don't think he has. He has got half a brain, but it's very Machiavellian.
Yeah.
So you can't say the guy isn't smart, but he is definitely, which makes him, I believe, definitely more evil than any politician in American history because he had a lot of power in that White House. Much more power than most vice presidents have. And certainly if you're Harris, she's kind of relying on the fact, or she's hoping that people rely on the fact that she couldn't do everything she wanted to do.
I can't do it. I'm just the vice president over here.
Just the vice president.
Yeah, Dick Cheney.
But Dick Cheney was like, I am in charge when it comes to the most important matters of war and peace. So this is what Dick Cheney says. He said, our nation's 248-year history, there has never been an individual who's a greater threat to our republic than Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But I really think that he was very bad.
This is where I don't trust anything in politics. I think I'm too much of a fan of wrestling. I think this is a work. I think this is him being like, I got some stink on me. I'm going to wipe some shit off on me and rub it on you. And now you got the stink on you and you're going to lose.
Well, thank you so much. I needed that. I was smelling too good for a second.
Yeah.
But of course, in 2000, they're in Florida. They basically stopped the vote count. And many people would argue, and I would believe, W. Bush didn't really win that election, but the Supreme Court said, well, we're just going to give it to him so we can go along to get along. And Al Gore was just like, all right, I'm going to go, make a bunch of money flying around the world, talk about pollution, as I pollute more than anyone else on earth. So he says he tried to steal this last election using lies and violence to keep himself in power.
Oh, weird.
After the voters had rejected him. He can never be trusted with power again.
That's Dick Cheney talking about himself.
I know.
That's insane.
It's so fucking gross. He says, as citizens, we each have a duty to put our country above partisanship to defend our Constitution. That is why I'll be casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. Which, if you're Harris, you're like, thanks. I guess.
Please no.
I guess thanks. I don't. Is it going to help her? I
think that's going to hurt her, and I think that's why he might be doing it. Machiavellian.
Well, the Cheneys and the Trumps do not like each other. Liz Cheney, she's basically ousted from the Republican Party because she refused to go along with the idea that the election was stolen in 2020. She said, I can't do that.
Wow.
And she is also actively supporting Harris, which, again, is further evidence that we don't really even have a left wing that's viable in this country at all. And that's, of course, also why Harris is now going so far to the middle and contradicting herself on many policies because she knows that for traditional Republicans, she is now an alternative that they see as a true potential for president. And they say, well, she's a prosecutor. Maybe she was some say she's like, oh, she's crazy liberal prosecutor. But then also, if you listen, actually, what's interesting, Tulsi Gabbard, who's on some watch list now. I don't know. She's always talking about something. I was like, I don't know what's going on with Tulsi. She's a Trump supporter, speaking of switching sides a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but she did point out, when she was Attorney General of California, Harris was very strict. She was very strict. They were talking about withholding evidence of a man on death row, even though she knew that he was innocent based upon said evidence.
Yeah, and then another guy she just let rot in prison without even a trial for 6 years.
And then she talked about some people, that were overstayed their sentence, things of that nature. So it's interesting from that perspective, you can see the Dick Cheneys of the world, the man who signed a gallon of water. Remember when Sacha Baron Cohen had him sign the gallon?
Oh.
Because that was what was used for waterboarding, and he signed it.
Oh, yeah. That show was great.
Fucking Penguin. He's such a super villain. So I think they see that, and they're like, well, yeah, she's not a far liberal loon. She's a conservative prosecutor in a Democratic uniform. So this is what O'Malley Dillon said in a statement. They say he joins hundreds of Republicans who are backing the vice president and her patriotic vision of America over former President Trump because, as Vice President Cheney said, the future of our republic is at stake in this election. But they do say that every 4 years.
Every single time. This is the biggest, the baddest. That's what they got to do it for WrestleMania, too.
Yeah, it really is.
A lot of them are just mediocre.
Yep. Yeah, most of them. I'm just, what the fuck? But anyway, so strange bedfellows indeed. All right. Well, we're going to watch this debate this evening.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Interestingly enough, 30% of the people are undecided. That's what they say, which is kind of fascinating. You would think you'd have a decision made up, but this debate is going to matter.
Yeah.
And many people say, most obvious, we know who Donald Trump is. I think the poll, there was like 9% who was like, I need to learn more.
Yeah.
What? How? Why? How don't you know who this man is?
Yeah.
But many more people say that Harris, I don't know anything about her. So this is a big upside for Harris. If she does well, it could really move the needle. Trump's base is going to be there. But of course, if she doesn't, that could also be very, very detrimental. And of course, we saw how Joe Biden did. And if she is anywhere near as bad as that, it will not be good. But I can't imagine she'll be nearly as bad as Joe Pa. Although they did say Joe Biden was helping her with debate prep, which I thought that was stupid.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Thank you, Joe.
If you have to shit, you clench your cheeks.
That's what I was going to say. If we hear a greasy fart this time, then we'll know that it was Donald Trump.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for all the support. Love you guys. Hail yourself. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.